From riding buses in Buenos Aires to leading the Catholic Church with unmatched humility, His Holiness Pope Francis was a shepherd to the world in every sense of the word. Pope Francis was born Jorge Mario Bergoglio on December 17, 1936, in Buenos Aires, Argentina. He was the son of Italian immigrants and grew up in a modest household with 4 siblings. In his youth, he suffered a severe lung infection, and doctors removed part of his right lung. Despite this health challenge, he remained active and resilient throughout his life. Before entering the priesthood, he studied chemistry and earned a master's degree in the subject from the University of Buenos Aires. He also worked various jobs, including as a nightclub bouncer and janitor, long before becoming a religious figure. In 1958, he joined the Society of Jesus, the Jesuit order, known for its commitment to education, intellectual rigor, and missionary work. He was ordained a priest in 1969 and gradually rose through the ranks of the Catholic Church. As Archbishop of Buenos Aires, he became known for his deep humility, choosing to live in a small apartment instead of the official residence, cooking his own meals, and using public transportation instead of chauffeured cars. His concern for the poor, the marginalized, and the forgotten became the defining traits of his ministry. On March 13, 2013, after the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI, Jorge Bergoglio was elected pope. He chose the name Francis, in honor of Saint Francis of Assisi, the patron saint of the poor, nature, and peace. This was the first time a pope had taken that name. His election marked several historic firsts. He was the first Jesuit pope, the first pope from the Americas, the first from the Southern Hemisphere, and the first non-European pope in over 1,200 years. From the very beginning of his papacy, Pope Francis stood out. He refused to live in the lavish papal apartments, choosing instead to stay in the modest guesthouse Casa Santa Marta. He declined the traditional red shoes and gold-trimmed garments, preferring simple white robes and plain black shoes. After his election, he personally paid his hotel bill, a gesture symbolic of his down-to-earth nature. In 2013, he broke with tradition by washing the feet of Muslim and female prisoners on Holy Thursday, a radical act of humility and inclusion that resonated around the world. Throughout his papacy, he became a global moral voice. He urged world leaders to take action on climate change, describing it as a moral and spiritual crisis. He published the encyclical Laudato Si, calling for the care of our common home and warning against the destruction of the planet. His concern for the environment was matched by his passion for social justice. He repeatedly spoke out against income inequality, consumerism, and the exploitation of the poor. He also made headlines for his progressive tone. When asked about LGBTQ+ individuals, he responded, "Who am I to judge?" a phrase that became emblematic of his open and compassionate approach. While he did not change official church doctrine, he shifted the conversation toward acceptance and understanding. He championed the dignity of refugees and immigrants, called for the abolition of the death penalty, and encouraged mercy over judgment in the Church's dealings with divorced and remarried Catholics. Pope Francis traveled extensively, visiting over 50 countries during his papacy. He prioritized places in crisis, war zones, impoverished nations, and regions recovering from disaster. He embraced lepers, kissed the feet of tribal leaders in South Sudan, and visited refugee camps to show solidarity with the displaced. In 2019, he signed a historic document on human fraternity with the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, promoting interfaith peace and coexistence. He was also known for his simple pleasures. He loved soccer and was a lifelong fan of San Lorenzo, an Argentine football club. In his youth, he danced the tango and enjoyed classical music. Despite his global fame, he remained grounded, often telling people to pray for him instead of praising him. He communicated regularly through social media, becoming the first pope to use Twitter actively, and connected with millions through his humility, humor, and compassion. Until the end of his life, Pope Francis continued to speak out for the voiceless and challenge the status quo within and outside the Church. Though his reforms faced resistance, he never backed down from advocating for a more merciful, inclusive, and just world. He left behind a legacy not of power, but of love, simplicity, and fearless truth. His papacy reminded the world that greatness could be measured not in grand gestures, but in small acts of kindness, humility, and courage. His Holiness Pope Francis may have left this world, but his legacy of compassion, humility, and unwavering faith will forever illuminate the path of humanity.